What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 6, Episode 18, and it's called Chapter 113. Biblical.
Don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending of the podcast. We're going to go through our recap roundups, your recap roundups. We got so many of them this week, so be sure to stick around for the end of the podcast for that.
As always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. And let's get into this episode.
Okay, I need to hear what your thoughts are because we have not even discussed like an ounce.
We haven't discussed an ounce. I thought it was a really good episode. We're obviously kind of like, I guess, ramping to the end of the finale. Like
it seems like it.
Season.
Yeah.
Is next episode the finale? I don't really know for sure, but either way, it's all kind of coming to a head. I thought that a lot happened this episode.
Yeah,
like
same.
It like I was in like almost like 3 different plot points and 3 different storylines, and it kept like progressing and changing.
Yeah.
So it kept it exciting, and there were a lot of really exciting parts of the episode. I really want to know how you feel about the ending, and I have a lot of questions about what's going to happen next. But yeah, what did you think about the episode?
Agreed. I think the perfect word for this episode was chaotic. Because like it was overall chaotic, and then I feel like individually some characters were very chaotic themselves when they didn't need to be. Mm-hmm. It wasn't my favorite episode just because I do feel like it was kind of like all over the place, but
yeah,
obviously the ending was so good. I feel like we've been leading up to this moment for weeks and weeks. So let's get into it. Let's really like get down to what we thought and
tear it up. All right, so it starts off with Jughead talking about these signs of a plague. He's like, they all started very small and inconspicuously. Frogs escaping from the biology lab, flies like showing up, kids getting lice, like the regular things that happen in a town, basically. I guess. And then it kind of starts to elevate a little bit as things go on, obviously. But the first scene that we see is Veronica talking to Toni about her upcoming nuptials. And Toni basically asks her to be the wedding planner. And Veronica clearly
like, me?
isn't. Yeah, she's not feeling that like, too hot. She's like, okay, you
honey,
want me to be the
I run
planner?
An empire. I don't run an event.
I was the she-wolf of Wall Street. Like, if I hear her say that one more time,
oh my God.
I'm like, girl, it's done. You're done. So anyway, she does say yes,
You're
but
dead.
obviously she's feeling some type of way about it. Then it cuts to Archie talking to Betty, and Archie is one of the groomsmen. Fangs asked him, and they have this like little quick check-in. He's like, oh, I know that you're probably not feeling this, which was kind of weird. I was like, why wouldn't she be feeling it? Like he was like, I know that you're
was
like
rushed or something,
or maybe was it because it was like so soon after she killed the TBK? Like I don't really know what the situation was.
Yeah.
Because then she ends up saying like, no, I'm totally fine with it. I'm excited for both of them. I'm just looking forward to something to celebrate. So cool, everybody's good. We're moving forward. Then it cuts to Tabitha talking to Jughead. She meets him at the bunker to check in on him and sees what he's been writing, and she's reading some of the stories that he's been writing. She's like, some of them are ooky, spooky. And
she's like, but I love it. I love horror.
Like, I love it. She's like, especially that one about La Llorona. And she says, he says that he's been writing with the help of some of the voices that he's been hearing in the bunker. But it's all like this Riverdale stuff, basically, like kind of coming through the bunker, which we've been kind of talking about.
So I'm still very, I mean, we'll get to the end of it, but I think his storyline is the one that I'm just confused about in general.
I'm assuming that I'm making the assumption and hoping that it's all going to make sense by like hopefully next episode. Yeah. But it did feel very detached in a way to what was happening to everyone else, probably up until the last moment when he like, has that moment.
Yeah.
But I really wasn't sure what was going on, where they were going with it. They're obviously trying to bring this like Riverdale situation all the way back around again.
Yeah, it's getting in there.
This time in Riverdale. But
what was La Llorona's, what's her name? La Llorona?
La Llorona, yeah.
La Llorona. What was her purpose in Riverdale? Was just to take Tony's baby from her?
Yeah, I think she was like going around killing other babies until she got like the sacrifice, which is the one that that woman, the gangster woman, um took, right? Like because she's
Oh
the one that like
yes,
made the deal
right.
with her and said, you know, kill as many people as you can until you get this baby or you
So I
get the
just like I
vengeance.
wonder what her significance is on this side of of things. Like why
I
is
Yeah.
she the one that's here? You know
So
what I
yeah,
mean?
she does show up at some point in time, and also there's a lot of other things that I have a lot of questions about in terms of what like. I feel like we need to have like a little bit of a breakdown by the end of this episode, talking about like what happened in Riverdale, if anyone remembers, because I barely remember myself, to see like what this finale is going to look like. Because I think I mentioned it before, some people died in Riverdale, like they died and they never came
Mm-hmm.
back.
Mm-hmm.
So who are the people that are going to die? What are the significance of their deaths? Is it going to, you know, reach into Riverdale, or is it going to be something completely separate?
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So back to Tabitha and Jughead. She asks if he's gonna come upstairs and like, you know, be back to normal or whatever. And he says he doesn't want to like inundate himself with whatever's upstairs. He's like, let me just take my time. Like
Yeah.
right now I'm writing, like I need a little bit more time to get better. And she's like, cool, sounds good. Take whatever time you need. Then it cuts to Percival, and he's invoking all these omens, these plagues. The next one that he's doing in this particular scene is turning blood into water,
Mm-hmm.
or water into blood, I should
Mm-hmm.
say. And as he's doing the spell, Kevin, like through the crack of the shop, he sees from the outside, and he sees
Mm-hmm.
him do this like spell in Latin, and he runs away. He sees it, he's like, "Oh shit!" and then he runs.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Kevin's, and I can't wait to talk about Kevin, by the way.
Oh yeah.
This is his like episode of like coming back to the team.
Redemption.
Redemption episode. So then it cuts to Veronica talking to Tabitha at the Babylonium, and Tabitha asks why she seems so down about this party planning, this wedding plan. And this is when she goes and says, of course, I used to be the she-wolf of Wall Street. I had a man on my arm. I was married and blah, 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 blah.
But you
And
weren't even
now
happy.
she wasn't happy. And now she has nothing. So she's just complaining, whine about
So
her life and how things are shitty
overall,
for her.
like if this was like any other season or moment, I would be like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I get it, girl, you're lonely. But like the end of the world is very near. And maybe you shouldn't be thinking about your love life. And like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also the thing is like, she is at the top of her game technically right now. Like she owns a casino, she owns like these businesses. So like she's making it seem like she's like down and out, like she lost all her money, like she has no
Right.
job, like she used to be the she-wolf of Wall Street. I don't know. It's so problematic, this attitude that she had this episode, and like coming off such a strong Veronica episode last time. I was like,
Yeah.
girl, what are you doing? Like,
What
why
are
are
you
you
doing?
so
You're like
extra right
reverting a little
now?
bit.
Like, that's
Yeah.
all she had in this episode was like, I'm so lonely.
She gets back, she like, and I think, I don't know what if maybe it was triggered by the wedding itself, but I agree with you.
Which
I
is
feel
fair, right?
the
Because people do
timing
get
is
triggered by that. And like,
for sure.
you know.
It can affect you, but I feel like, to your point, we haven't had enough time really loving her character again and having her like have a moment as an independent, strong woman. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like
why
she
is she
should have just
thinking about a
said,
relationship right now?
or
You know?
yeah, or to that point, I wish she just said, I have all of this. I have business. I have money. I'm so successful. I just like, I'm lonely. Like that would have
Yeah.
made more sense to me into like, where she is right now. But she made it seem like she's like down and out, like she has no money, like she's struggling
Yeah.
and she's lonely. Like,
Yeah.
so it was just kind of like, Veronica, shut up. Like,
Just chill. Yeah, this is not your moment. Like,
Like-
to stop talking about yourself for a second. Like, this is not about you. So she goes on to say that, you know, Tabitha says like, you're more than just a party planner, obviously. And Veronica says, I miss sharing my heart with someone.
shout out
my
to Tabitha,
love.
who's like everyone's hype girl. Like Tabitha
Yeah,
is
she's
there
just
for
sitting there, like,
everyone.
listening to everyone's shit, and she's like, you don't even know. You don't even know.
When she
Um,
when Veronica was like, I was a she-wolf, it cut to Tabitha's face and she was like, no, honey. No, that
You
must have
didn't
sucked for
know.
you.
Oh, no,
You're
girl.
doing amazing, sweetie. Her facial reaction was like, oh no.
Like,
So
girlfriend. And I don't know if she says it here, but you make a really good point where she's like, I was at the top of my game and all these different plans. And then Tabitha goes like, you think this was a part of my plan? Like I had, like, you know, I don't know if it was in this particular scene, but when they have a moment again, she's basically like, she's like, you know, like it's not just about that. Like you're on a continuum. Like everybody's in their own shit.
Yeah, because
she's like, did you think that I wanted my fucking Pop's diner in a fucking wrestling
small town?
Ring?
Like yeah, she's like, I could have turned it into a franchise. So like, yeah, like it was cute that like she has the best. Like Tabitha's written so well.
Yeah,
like for every interaction that she has, she's always like on top.
She's a very like grounded character.
Yeah.
So anyway, Veronica at that point in time gets a call that something's wrong with the plumbing, and this is when we see all the blood going through everyone's plumbing.
God damn it.
She's like,
now I gotta deal with this shit.
Like now I have to think about other people. Damn it. She like goes and has to figure out her plumbing. Yeah, like it shows Archie and there's like blood in the water. Like Britta's at the fountain and she's like trying to drink water and there's like water coming out of the fountain. And then this is when Kevin goes to visit Toni and Fangs and tells them straight up, I'm dropping the case.
He's like, hey guys, season's almost done, so I'm gonna be done with the storyline. I no longer want the baby. I was like,
and you know what's really funny? I was rewatching, like catching my husband up to what we're watching now.
Yeah.
And just watching all these scenes of like the fight and the talking to the lawyer and like the custody battle and the back-to-back. And I was like, this all leading up to this, I was like
chaotic. He's literally chaotic.
Waste. Yeah, but it was just such a waste.
I would respect you more if you actually went through with it.
Like, steal that. You better steal that, baby bitch. Like, you want to go through with it? You go through with that shit.
Yeah. Or like just be like, I want to be a part of this baby. I will like, you know, help raise the baby and stuff, whatever. But like to be like, he's like, I'm out. He's like, I'm gonna take my application away.
And like the thing that kind of annoyed me this episode too, amongst many things with Kevin, is like him looking through a crack in a door and seeing him do a spell was the thing that like was like, oh no, Percival's evil. Oh god, I gotta go.
Thank you for bringing this up. This is the part that I don't understand, and I think even Veronica says it later on. She's like, wait, she's like, if Kevin's helping us with that, that must mean that he like no longer is under Percival's spell. So was he under Percival's spell this whole time? And what happened that took him out of that? Like we still don't have an explanation of like, why the F was Kevin acting this way this entire season? And now, to your point, you're like, oh, he sees one little like witchcraft thing, which he probably should have seen from time.
He would have seen.
He's like, oh yeah, he's evil. Like what?
Like, didn't he get him stuff before at some point? Like, wasn't he like his mule and he like got him shit for him?
Also,
like,
to do was their relationship sexual? Because I really want to know. Because like there was insinuations about it, and I was like, because he's like, and he put him up apartment, he put him up in the apartment. Like,
it was just, it's just a very like question mark storyline.
Question
and,
like,
mark,
why they just put him explain here. It. If they had, if he had just like woken up and been like, "What the f?" Like I would have just been like, "Okay, I'm down for that. That's fine."
And like, also, just as a quick aside. Again, I watched last week's episode or the episode before, which was in the American Psycho episode. And he's like, they invited him to sing at the casino. He's all a part of the crew. He's singing like 3 songs. Nobody's talking about the fact that he's like got baby custody and like all this battle. Like there's no consistency.
I think we mentioned that too. We're like, huh? Like
why are you guys friends in this episode when just an episode before that you guys are fighting for custody? So I just don't understand why they keep doing this with Kevin, and they got him to this point where now he has a light bulb moment. Like make it make sense. Like to your point, like I wish there was like a glaze in the eyes that just changes.
Yeah.
So we know that there's
or
a reason
Percival just crossed a line and he was like, I'm out. Like this is too much for me. Like we got nothing of that. It's just
because at that point in time, you'd think that like the baby thing when he was like, oh yeah, by the way, like baby Anthony's not your baby, but also like I want to take that baby. That would have been his reason to be like, oh shit, I gotta get out of this. He's trying to hurt babies at this point.
Yeah, because you know? Like, he did sketch out that time. He did sketch out, but like he did, he was still there, so like he didn't really leave. Anyways.
But even at that point in time, he still went on to do the spell with Cheryl the next episode to try to break them up. So like none of it makes sense. It doesn't make sense. Anyways, it's all just rewatching it again. You're like, none of this fucking makes sense.
It's just another reason why when we say he's such a poorly written character, this is exactly why we're saying it. Because, like, you don't make anything make sense with his character. Just make it make sense. It doesn't take that long.
Or either just do that and stick to it and stick your guns to it. But like, it's just so inconsistent that we don't know what to feel. Anyway, so whatever. He's dropping the case. He's asking for forgiveness for doing all of this and putting them into this mess. So I was like, okay, so is there not going to be a wedding? Because like, I don't know if Toni wants to marry Fangs right now. Anyways, whatever. That scene ends, gets to Percival calling Archie, who is trying to fix the pipes, and he's basically just like gaslighting him. He's like, oh, like, is everything okay? You better stop the strike or things are just going to get worse and worse. And he tells him to turn on the news, and it shows that the Sweetwater River has actually turned blood red. So it's getting worse. These omens and plagues are getting even worse. Things are not looking good for Riverdale. Then it cuts to Pop's Diner / the El Royale, and the whole gang is talking about Percival. And Cheryl, right off the top, my girl Cheryl, she's like, you know what? Fuck this guy. Let's just burn him to death with my pyrokinesis. She's like, I'll do it. You don't even have to do anything.
Everyone's been thinking about it. Let's just burn this mother effort to the ground. Like, let's go.
And then sure enough, Archie, like Mr. Noble Archie says like, if we do that, then we lose the battle against good and evil by like killing him. And I'm like, so you just have to stop him?
Who cares?
Like, who cares?
Get rid of him.
He's doing bad things. He's trying to kill a baby.
Archie's basically like, we have 8 more episodes left. We can't do that, Cheryl.
Yeah, we can't do that right now because realistically, like, we need more to write more.
It's not the season finale.
Yeah. So they said, let's just keep at it with the strike and the wedding because Toni and Fangs will help bring the town together. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine, Archie. Like, let's do it. Then it cuts to Jughead, and he's sleeping in the bunker, and our girl, La Llorona, is standing over him, looking at the pages, and when he wakes up the next morning, he can't find the La Llorona pages anymore. Like, the story has disappeared. So, big mystery. She wants to read about herself, like, not really sure what's going on there. Then it cuts to Pop's Diner, and they're all talking to the strikers. They're starting to feel a lot of pressure. But Archie's like, just hold on a little bit longer. Just like, you know, stick to it. Like, we can do this together. And they're like, okay, cool, fine. Then it cuts to the FBI office. And there's a really quick scene where Betty's asking for holy texts because now she's like looking into these omens, trying to figure out what the F is happening in Riverdale with these curses and if it's related to the Bible, blah, blah, blah. So she's on the case on that side of things. Then it cuts to Veronica and Tabitha folding napkins. So this is probably the moment where she's like, girl, your 5-year plan is not the hardest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And Tabitha says, like, we got to keep fighting. And Veronica just keeps going back to, like, but what am I fighting for? Like, you're fighting for this. You're fighting for this. What am I fighting for, though? But Tabitha kind of ends off the conversation by saying, there is a reason why you stayed in Riverdale. So, like, just think a little bit harder about that, which is a good point to make because I think even we've talked about it. Like, why didn't you just leave to New York? You said you were going to go, you wanted to leave. I know your reputation was bad and you killed your husband, whatever, but like, you can go now. Like, you don't have to stay here anymore.
As I was writing my roundups, it was something that came across exactly what you just said. I wish they made it. I wish there was a reason as to why she really, really, really had to stay in Riverdale. Like,
right.
Is she on the hunt or like she's running from someone? Or I just wish they just added that line in the text at some point and she was like, I have to stay here. Like, this is where I need to be. Right. Because you're right. In this moment, you do question that. You're like, then why aren't you in New York City? Like, you just keep talking about it and your amazing life, even though your life was shit, go there. Like, no one's stopping you. You're right. No one's stopping you.
Just leave. But anyway, so obviously that does like kind of beg the question. So at least Veronica has a question to be like, okay, like what is keeping me here?
I wonder if it's going to be a thing of like, because remember how when her and Archie broke up, he was like, I want to stay here. And she's like, well, I want to go to New York City. And he was like, well, then we're not going to be. So maybe in the end, like she's going to get to the point where she's like, you're right. Like, I do love it here. Like this is my home kind of thing.
I am a Pops girl. And so we'll see what happens with that because a lot of things happen on that side of things because Veronica was
I literally just feel like they didn't know what to do with Veronica this episode and they gave her this dumbass like storyline. I could have just used her just being the wedding planner. Like, it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah, she doesn't have to have like this spotlight at all times. It was just like the drama for the VARCHIE fans, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
True.
anyway, then it cuts to Cheryl and Heather, and they're talking, and she tells her that Toni has asked her to officiate the wedding, and Cheryl said yes, even though she's feeling some type of way about it.
I was reading another recap and they were like, bruh, how savage must you be that you ask your ex-girlfriend to officiate your wedding?
Your wedding to
How
someone that you know
rude.
she was not okay with. Yeah.
Like,
It's so tight. It's so
the
rude.
savagery
It's
and the
true.
fact that Cheryl is like, okay, yeah, I'm down. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
wow.
So then she goes on to say
Totally chaotic.
Totally chaotic, and then she goes on to say that she is going to give her the best wedding gift ever and kill Percival. She's going to be like, I'm going to do it anyway.
It was on her registry.
This is what she wanted, so this is what I'm going to give her. Happy wedding day. Really quickly though, going back to what you were saying, I was again watching the last couple episodes back, and with the introduction of Heather, now that we're at this stage, a part of me feels like, are they gonna just keep them together? Because when you think of the old ships,
who's they, like Heather and Cheryl?
Yeah, and I'm only saying that because obviously we have the canons, VARCHIE, CHONI. Is that it? Probably that's it. But now we've moved on to BARCHIE, and now CHONI kind of had a moment, but they never were able to rekindle after the time jump. And now here we are, the wedding's going ahead, and regardless of how anybody feels about like Fangs as the actors acting, like they're together and they support each other, and
you're like, he's here to stay.
He's here to stay.
And
so is Heather. There's no issue that I have with Heather at all, and I feel like she's a very supportive character.
She's great. Yeah.
So part of me is just like, are we supposed to? And even just like I said, watching a few of the episodes back again, there's some times where Heather or Cheryl says like, I'm just trying to let go of this thing that I had with Toni, and like having you here and being reintroduced, like it changes things for me. And so I was like, are we supposed to now feel okay with CHONI not coming back together? And the only reason why I'm saying that is because if you realistically look, and I know that people hate to, look at the realism of Riverdale, but 5 years later, or however long, 7 years later, they like Cheryl is a witch now. Like Toni has a baby. She's running.
Wait,
the serpents.
Are you saying they're never gonna get back together? Is that what you're saying right now?
A part of me feels like
no,
that
I don't think that's right.
You're like, no. Cancel the order.
I don't think that's right. I get what you're saying, but like, it will come back around. You know what I mean?
But my thing is like Toni and Cheryl, like to CHONI 5 on it, who keeps talking about the fact that CHONI has no scenes together. Like there's literally no scenes with Toni and Cheryl that really feel like genuinely romantic. It really just feels like they're just friends now. And even since the time jump, it's always been like, you're my buddy, we're cool. Like nothing romantic about it. And they don't have anything connecting them anymore. Like that was their high school love. So a little part of me feels like, why would they get together right now? Just because of the two lesbians in Riverdale?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
There's no reason for her to go back to her at this point. And at this point, Toni's like in it to win it, trying to marry Fang. So I really want to see how it's going to resolve, but I don't know if I feel terribly confident about CHONI coming back. Anyways, moving on to Percival. He's doing another spell, and he decides to make all the food go bad at the dinner, like rehearsal dinner.
What a waste.
What a waste. I don't know what the food looked like before, but it was disgusting afterward. Cuts to Toni, Tabitha, and Veronica talking about it, and they're like, what the fuck happened to all the food? It's all rotten. And Tony's like, shit, like we're gonna have to cancel. And Veronica's like, I'm a planner, I will figure it out, I'm the best person to do this. So sure enough, she figures something out, which is basically sending everybody to Pop's Diner. So I was like, okay, thanks, Veronica. You probably should have just done that from the first place. But in the meantime, Jughead in the bunker, he sees a Pop's cheeseburger, and it kind of like shows up out of nowhere, and he's like, ooh, a burger. It was kind of, I think, a very like cute comic book throwback because You
He's
know,
like, I
Jughead
can't
obviously
resist
loves
this.
burgers. He's like, burger.
A
So he eats
burger.
the burger. And sure enough, like shit goes down after, literally. Then it cuts to Heather and Cheryl again, trying to do a spell on a poppet of Percival and trying to light him on fire, like remotely. He's like the remote
like
burn.
working from home, but like lighting him on fire.
But catching, yeah, working from home, spell edition. So it shows him like kind of catching fire in the like in his shop, and he like freaks out, whatever. He crawls to a like wheelchair, like kind of like a chair, and he starts speaking Latin, and it stops him from burning.
Mm-hmm.
And then the poppet like goes like reverse, like it stops burning. And they're like, what happened there? I guess like did it not work? And Heather's like, yeah, I don't think it worked. And then suddenly they hear like screaming from the other room, and sure enough, our girl Nana motherfucking Rose is literally
she's
on
like,
motherfucking fire. She's
but like I feel like
"Ah!"
she's been dead like 20 million times in this show.
Yeah, she's been
So
like come
she's
back
fine.
to life.
Like she's good.
She's okay. She's like Balenciaga, and then it cuts to Veronica doing a speech at Pops. This is the rehearsal dinner, and she's like, here's to Toni. And then she starts
It reminded me of the Kristen Wiig speech in Bridesmaids.
Oh my gosh. She's
When
like,
she's like,
I'm so happy for you.
Here.
And Consuelo. And thank you for everyone to be here.
And I chose this location, and this is all me.
And you're welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
I am the Steward of Wall Street.
Yeah. So sure enough, she starts singing, just like in Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Keep shining. Keep smiling. And it is the most awkward. Obviously, they did this on purpose. Like, girl,
we had a musical episode last
like
week.
You don't.
We don't
this.
need no musicals this time. We're good.
Anymore. Like everybody,
like
calm
I didn't understand this at all. Like, why are you singing here and no one even asked you to?
Nobody asked, and it would have been a little bit funnier. And I know this is like
it was supposed to be funny.
But you're not like, I know that like you shouldn't be leaning on alcohol, but if she was a little tipsy, I would have understood.
Oh, I thought she was.
Like, she was fine. She looked totally fine.
But she was like drinking. She was like drinking those things and like.
She was drinking, but she wasn't like, I know one another thing. Like she wasn't. I guess I didn't really.
You're right. They should have made her sloppy. Yeah.
But I guess because she is like a spider now or whatever, she can't get drunk anymore. So she's like not able to get drunk.
That sucks, girl.
So you want to get drunk, but you can't get drunk, girl. I'm so sorry.
Also, like, it would have been really fun if, like, see, this is what this episode was missing a little bit. Like, at the wedding, like, the wedding was such a small part, but it was such a big part as well. Like, if they had just had, because Veronica was already being chaotic, right? So it's like, if she was just being chaotic and like Reggie was around and like she wanted to like F him and like he was like, no, like whatever. Right. Like that would have been more fun to watch than a 2-minute stupid like musical number that I just didn't need again.
Yeah. It was just like
if you want to show sloppy and sad, show sloppy and sad. I'm down to see that, but like I didn't need a musical song. It was like stupid.
She's out here getting awkward with everybody. She's like throwing glasses.
Literally, everyone's
things up on the table. Everyone's
check
like,
on her right now.
She is unhinged. Like she needs a talk. And she tells all the ladies to rise. And
they're like, okay, I guess we're gonna rise.
Just like, I guess we're gonna stand up now.
Like a. Anyways, I'm not gonna say
So sure enough, after the dinner, Betty goes to talk to her and she's like, girl, are you okay? She's like,
do you need to talk?
Okay? Like we need
are you good?
We need a moment. And then she asked if she wants to go with her and Archie to the wedding because she
wants like a threesome, basically.
Yeah, she wants to do a threesome.
Let's just do it. Like I would have been like, oh, imagine if she asked that. I'd be like, oh, and then she'd be like,
I'd be like. She's like, just kidding. JK. And then she says, thank you, but that's okay. We're just best friends. Thanks, B&B. But then she goes on to say, thank you for reminding me for what I'm fighting for. My friends. I'm like, that did not last long, bitch.
The D. She's fighting for the
Yeah.
D. Let's be real. Let's all be real here. She's not fighting for friends. She's not fighting for the town. She ain't fighting for even her bank account. She's fighting for the D. Like that. Like
100.
This girl has nobody for 2 weeks. She's glitching out.
She's
like
losing
she can't
her
survive.
mind. She can't
She's
control
literally
herself.
losing it.
She's like, fuck. So anyway, yeah. Then it cuts to Archie getting a call from Cheryl because sure enough, Nana caught on fire. So then it cuts to Thornhill. They're all talking about Nana, who is fine. She's just burnt
Heather
to a crisp. Yeah,
like
she's like helping her. She's like doing like healing salves or whatever. And then they realize that Percival is behind the plagues and that he's using these powers beyond just mind control. Because it took them getting to this point in time to realize that it was Percival this whole time doing these omens. I'm like, are we just the ones who were
just realize that in that part of the episode?
100%.
Oh my God, these guys are fucking.
And this is what I'm saying. I'm like, are we just getting so much more information as viewers that they really are left in the dark?
No, the devil is literally in Riverdale, and you guys are all planning a wedding, and the things are happening, and you're gonna be like, whose fault is this? Nana's?
It's obviously Percival.
It's obviously the devil that's in your town right now. Like,
I don't get it. They're like,
they're so dumb.
Now we gotta do something.
Now we think Percival is like on. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. So anyway, so now they want to take action, but Archie still says they are gonna stop the strike to like slow down this whole situation. He's gonna go talk to Percival, but then Betty was like, oh, I wish there was someone on the inside that could let us know what's happening. And then Veronica goes on to mention, she's like, actually, Kevin or Fangs and Toni told me that Kevin dropped the case for the custody battle and he's moving out of the Babylonium. So maybe he's like not friends with Percival anymore. So they're like, okay, let's talk to Kevin. Cuts to Jughead typing, and sure enough, he gets the shits and he starts throwing up off this burger, and he goes to lie down. Like that was
I thought you were going somewhere else, and then you're like, he got the shits.
And then he got the shits. So he goes to lie down in the bed. Then it cuts to Kevin and Betty talking, and his only explanation, y'all, for the last 7 damn episodes that he's been acting like a total dummy.
Who?
Kevin.
Oh, Kevin.
He goes,
I should have guessed.
I thought that Percival was doing good for the town. I'm like, all of your friends said he's evil, and you were better than him? You think that you're better than them, that you knew something that they didn't know? No, you're a loser. You're insecure. You wanted the D again as well, and that's the reason why you got into the situation that you were in.
Oh, the tea is hot.
Boom. So he ends up going on to say that he is like this magic man, and he also has this little black book that he puts all this information in. And Betty says, well, can you steal it? And he's like, sure, I'll do it, because literally I'm the most irredeemable character at this point. I'll do it. Sure, fine. So that's his mission. Then it cuts to Archie talking to the boys about the strike, or I guess everyone at the strikers at the strike about the strike. And he's like, I think I'm going to go talk to Percival and negotiate something with him. And at this point in time, now all the strikers are like, no. I love that. Like, we've been like pushing at this. Like, we got to keep going. Like, we're all in. We all feel this way. So then Archie's like, all right, if that's what you want, then like, let's just do it. So Archie makes a decision to try to strategize something. And literally 5 seconds later is like, no, we're not going to do that anymore because they want to do it. You had a plan. Just stick with the fucking plan. Anyways, whatever. They decide to keep going. As Betty's trying to decipher these omens, it cuts to the next omen that says boils. And then it shows Percival putting these like little army people into boiling water. And as all the strikers are playing basketball, they start getting all these like nasty boils all over them. And they're like, like I'm dying. And so Archie like busts into his room, talks to Percival, and he's like, you better stop these curses. You better stop these omens. And he's like, I'm not going to do that yet, because I want them to suffer. He wants these strikers to suffer. But I will stop their pain if you start working for me immediately. Like he needs to start working, and he needs to start working at like a certain threshold. Like he needs to like, he can't just like carry something slowly. Like he has to like actually do
Right.
his 9 to 5. So then it cuts to Jughead, and he's laying down. I guess at that point in time, Archie like agrees. Then it cuts to Jughead laying down, and then Cheryl from Riverdale wearing like the sacrificial like whatever outfit. She comes by the bed, and she's like, "Hey Jughead, what's going on?" And he's like, "Cheryl, something's wrong with me. My stomach hurts." And she's like, "Let me fix that for you." And then she like stabs him, but as she stabs him, he wakes up. So obviously it was some sort of weird dream that he had. Then it cuts to Kevin, and he is in the shop, the curiosity shop, rummaging through all this stuff, and Percival catches him, and he's like, "What are you doing, Kevin?" And Kevin tries to like push him to the side, and he's like, "Oh, I've just been feeling really lost and sad." And Percival's like, "Oh yeah, true. You're low self-esteem. Like, come help me with the groceries. Like, let's talk about it. It's totally fine. Don't worry about it."
I was like, oh wow.
But my thing was also just like, to your point, you could have just made this like another like faux sexual moment, because like you guys introduced it in the very beginning when they kiss each other.
Yeah.
Like, what is the relationship?
That never came up again. That
confused.
was such a weird thing to do.
So weird. I don't get it. I don't.
It's like they went
like,
there and they were like, "No, let's not go there with these guys."
Yeah,
I was like, but it's
just,
like, I don't understand. Like,
I didn't understand that either. Anyway, also I was kind of confused at this point too, because like Percival can influence minds, but can he not read them? Like, he's not a mind reader. Is that correct?
yeah, he can't read minds.
Oh, okay, because then I was like, he could just read
He can
Kevin's mind to see if
influence.
he was he can influence.
Like he can
them,
influence, but then he
read.
can't read it. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. He can start omens, but he can't read someone's mind.
Yeah, he can't read a
Anyway.
mind. What kind of freaking like devil are you doing?
So then it cuts to Betty, and she's going through a book, and she sees a drawing of a woman on a beast, and she has this flashback moment with a TBK telling her about Babylon, the mother of destruction and abomination, and that it was Betty, and she was going to like take her place as Babylon. And so Betty freaks out because she's like, "Oh shit, this is the person that TBK was talking about." Then it cuts to
like, how are you gonna get your factual information from TBK?
yeah, like, please.
Like are you
let's not do
seriously
that.
gonna listen to that psychopath and be like, "Oh my god, it's me. He's talking about me."
Like, it was me the whole time. Yeah, so I don't know, whatever. But I mean, whatever. They tried to make the connection to this stupid plague thing, whatever. Okay, fine. Like, just
also, where's Agent Drake? Like, isn't she supposed to do all this like weird biblical stuff?
That's a good point. She should have just been working.
She should have been there. She wasn't there.
Yeah. She's like tail between her legs. She's like, I can't date her now. She
Did
like,
I
runs
try?
away. So then it cuts to kind of like Jughead doing this voiceover, and he's like, and then on the third day, the sun went out, and it shows like Archie working the railway, and Veronica's working on like finding a date for Toni and Fangs, and Fangs and Toni are working on their vows, and there's like an eclipse, and it's
literally
like the sun.
Everyone's trying to save the world, and Veronica's like, "I need a date. Where's my date?"
That's so funny. That's so true. So then it cuts to Betty and Kevin talking, and Kevin says, you know, like, he's getting ready for a war. He's like, he's getting ammunition from the Civil War. He's getting all these like ancient relic things for a battle. And he mentioned something called the stockade for the harlot of Babylon, which is a torture device. And she's like, he says something about like how he wants to put them on display for when the walls come crumbling down. And then Betty kind of like gets triggered again, and she goes, I'm gonna go talk to Percival about the stupid stockade. She tells him, you want to put me in that stockade? Like, put me in that stockade if it's gonna stop all the plagues. And then that's when Percival realizes that Kevin betrayed him, and he's like, I don't want just you in that stockade. Like, I want someone else. Wink, wink. And
who was he talking about?
That's when we realize after, because he's like, you really don't know who I'm talking about? And as even the viewer, I was like, no, I really don't know who you're talking about. And then it cuts to Betty talking to Toni, Kevin, and Tabitha, and she was like, he wants baby Anthony as well, or else the plagues are going to continue, because baby Anthony is this like special Jesus baby or whatever.
I still don't get that. Like, I don't even get why he's so special.
Yeah, I'm not really sure unless he just represents the future. But I'm
Because he
like,
was
is he the only
adopted, wasn't
baby?
he? Oh no, he was
No,
she
she
gave
had
birth.
him.
So
Yeah,
like
she gave birth to
is
him.
there something special about Toni that like she birthed like the Antichrist or something? Like I don't know.
Or like the opposite of the Antichrist, like Jesus. Like
Yeah,
she
that's what I
birthed
mean.
like an
Yeah.
angel or whatever. And
Yeah.
also, didn't she have did actually now that I'm thinking about it, did she not have Anthony inside Pops? Like, didn't she give birth in the White Worm? I'm trying to remember.
I
I
think
feel
you're
like
right.
yeah, so maybe there is
Yeah.
some like even more significance. They'll probably explain it to your point, like why is he so special? Because Pops is like known to be like this sacred like space. Maybe being
Oh,
born there,
yeah.
giving birth there was like the special
Oh, I like
situation.
that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
I just thought about that just now.
Good job.
Thanks, girl. So then it cuts to them talking about like what they're gonna do. She tells them about the stockade, and then Heather realizes something. Shout out to Heather this episode. She was like doing all the
Honestly.
work.
Yeah.
And like you find out that this stockade specifically for the harlot of Babylon, it makes anyone who is like trapped in it completely powerless. So now they're deciding they want to get him into that so he can't use any of his powers. Now Kevin's like, oh, but like now he's gonna expect us to like surprise attack him. But then Cheryl's like, maybe he won't see us though. And I was like, oh, magic! I can't wait.
Magic's coming.
So then it cuts to Jughead, and he's talking to the darkness. He's like calling out to it, being like, what do you want from me? And then he gets this like bottle rolled to him, and it's like one of the empty like whatever liquor bottles from Riverdale. And in there there's a note that says keep writing. That's all it says. There's like nothing else in it. And I was like, thanks for the vague information. Like obviously he's not going to be like, okay, cool, thank you, I'm going to keep writing. Like that's not who Jughead is. He's obviously going to try to like figure out what it is. Anyways, whatever. Cuts to Betty showing up to Percival. But as she hands
this was
over the baby.
Another chaotic moment. I was like, wait,
what's happening?
I can see the plastic shine off that baby from a mile away. Was he really like, was that really your plan? Like you were really gonna hand a baby over and he wasn't gonna check it and you were gonna go home and that was it? Like the stupidity of this plan. And I'm like, no, like this, there must be like a decoy or something. Like this can't be the plan that they had.
But I mean, I guess the plan was that she would hand over the fake baby as soon as he realizes it's a fake baby. They
got
ambush
it. Got
Yeah.
it. So that was
Which
the
is-
idea. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I was like, was she just
But
gonna like walk away?
She was like, see ya, thanks.
Don't open the blanket yet. Let me leave first.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think like
He's a quiet baby.
She meant to like let him like realize that. So sure enough, he like pulls it back. He realizes
There's
that
no
it's
realize.
not. Yeah, it does not real. He's not real, and he's about to attack Betty, but then everybody like appears because they were all like holding their breath.
Squad up, and they're
She's
like
Papa
S Club.
There ain't no party like an S Club party. And then Kevin puts him under arrest. Like, Kevin, you go sit down. You sit down and shut your fucking mouth. What are you doing? You
I would have
dummy.
died if like he tried to put the handcuffs on him and Percival was like, I thought those were like our secret like thing.
Just for home. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been like,
yeah. It was like, just, yeah, like.
It's so dumb.
Nothing.
You're not a police officer.
Yeah. Stop trying to make sheriff happen. It's not going to happen. Like,
no, it's not going to happen.
He's so waste. Anyway, I can't even talk about Kevin without getting so upset about it. But anyway, so he's like, you're under arrest. And then they lock him in the stockade. Like he's in the thing now. And then that's when like Jughead's like, and then as soon as he like got locked up, the plague stopped. The sun came back. And then Veronica locks the door. She's like, this is a high security vault. And now like no one can get in. No one can get out. Like you're locked in here. Bye. Enjoy your life. Goodbye. So they think that this whole issue is done. Then it cuts to Toni and Fangs and Kevin talking. Kevin like gets invited to the wedding. He's like, oh my God, I'm so happy. Thank you for like forgiving me. Like,
no, first of all, no.
No.
Second Second of all, no, bitch, you can't invite a +1. Like, who are you? Like, you barely got your ass invited to this wedding. Now you're gonna ask for a +1?
That's so
like, no.
He's like, can I bring Moose, please?
Yeah, he's like, can I bring Moose now? Like, my boyfriend? Like, well, he's not even your boyfriend. Who is he?
You are on thin ice. Like, just take what you can get. Jesus.
Like, thin ice. Thinner than the ice that Cheryl fell through in season effing 1. Like, get out of here. And then he has the audacity to sing. Like, oh my God, I can't.
The audacity to sing. Oh my God, I'm done. So he gets invited to this wedding. He invites Moose, whatever. Then it cuts to Toni and Fangs at the wedding, and they're doing the whole thing. Cheryl decides to officiate. Obviously, she does this like cute little speech.
How do you feel about the wedding?
Speaking. Short, weird, random. I think it's just like it's an amalgamation of like how we feel about Toni and Fangs, which is like random, weird.
But it wasn't even that, J-Lag. Like, even if I'm not down for their union. Like, I kind of wanted like this big, beautiful, like extravagant, like iconic event. There are moments in a TV series where these big moments like have big sort of like things, like it like leaves a lasting impression on you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like we haven't had a moment like this in a long time in Riverdale.
Yeah.
Like, a wedding is an iconic like moment. Take the Red Wedding, for example, from Game of Thrones. Like, obviously that's a different like ending. But like there's like these really big moments, and I was waiting for like a really good soundtrack and like you know, the decor to be like off the hook. It was like 2 like plastic like snakes like in the corner. I was like, that's not decor, which I understand. Like, they're not gonna like like they don't have money, but like from the show's side of things, I wish they just went a bit harder.
Oh my
and like
God.
there wasn't that big moment of her like walking down the aisle. Like there was just things that like I was like, it's kind of boring.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. They're like they didn't put the budget into the wedding.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that like it was unfortunate because I think we said at the top of the episode, like a lot happened this episode. Like the wedding wasn't even really.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the wedding.
I would have wanted the wedding to be like the moment, but like there was so much happening with the plagues and blah 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 that like. By the time we got to this, I was like, okay, like we're still doing the wedding this episode. Like, just push it to next episode.
Yeah.
Like,
and like I kind of was obviously like I kind of was still waiting for like a little, you know, Cheryl like kind of like look to be like kind of upset, and like the music. It was just I was waiting for this really like iconic moment in this series. And it wasn't that at all. We
didn't get any of that.
Having said that, their speeches were really cute. Like I did what they said to each other, but like everything else was kind of just like lame.
Yeah. He's like, I love you. She's like, he says his vows. She says her vows. Like their vows were the best part of the whole episode. Was.
And he did say, he's like, we're very unconventional. Like he's like, we weren't supposed to be together, but like we're together. And like, I really did appreciate like the vow part of it.
I should say their vows were the best part of their relationship, not the episode.
Oh.
Like they're like, I feel like you don't see what they're trying to say, because when they're saying it, you're like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like what you mean and what you're saying. Like you're saying like the unconventional and like we grew up together and like who would have known, like that love story. You don't really think about it until you hear them say it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's why they're together.
It's
I
cute.
guess that's why they're getting
I did
married.
buy it. Yeah.
Because you don't really see that when you see their scenes
up until
together.
That, yeah.
Anyways, the last thing she says is obviously till death do us part, and I was like, this ain't over yet.
So I'm really like, I'm glad you put that into your notes, because I'm like, So if someone dies,
so
you're not together anymore, right?
Yeah. So you guys are split after death. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So CHONI can be if you die. You know, I'm really like I always say this show needs consequences. We are in the second to last season. Like if you're not going to kill off core people now, when are you going to do it? So if he doesn't make it out of this, and I don't think he will, I really don't, because I do see him dying, and then it shifts, and then eventually like Toni has to move on with someone else, or like she just kind of moves on with her life. But I
Or
can see
reconnects
him. I can see him
with
dying, and that's interesting
yeah.
that you put that as in your notes because
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We'll talk about some guesses later because I think he might not be the only one who's gonna die next episode, like officially. So then it cuts to Toni and Fangs. Oh wait, no, I'm way too far out. I was like, we're not doing that again. And so they're all partying, whatever. They're all having a good time. Then it cuts to Percival, and he's like in the stockade.
he's like talking to himself. He's like,
He's
I'm
talking to
coming,
himself.
bitches.
He's like, hello, everybody. And the locusts start showing up, like these little cricket thingies. And he's like, now it's a party. And then Toni and Fangs are
He's
officially
like, I
married.
wasn't invited, but I have my plus ones.
It's so lame. So then Kevin starts singing, sure enough, of course, and everyone's partying. I'm
Guys,
like, Kevin,
why?
Really? Stop.
You're not even supposed to be here right now.
When did you become the
You weren't even
entertainment?
invited. Like, it's
would have
such
been
a
cool?
desperate. Just put a soundtrack on.
You know what would have been cool if they called
Josie.
and asked the Archies to like play again, like have like Betty up there, Ron,
but
Kevin.
like literally just play the jukebox in the corner. I don't care.
play it
he's
off your
such
iPhone. Like Jesus, so bad.
And
Anyway,
everyone was
so
like
he's
having
saying-
it was like supposed to be like a romantic song too. Like everyone's like
Yeah.
feeling, I'm like, this is not the vibe though, guys. Like
yeah, it's Kevin. We're talking
just
about
play the
Kevin,
right
who's
music.
loser.
The music corner for the show needs to be fucking fired. Like when you used to watch
Sometimes
shows like
they're on
the,
point though. Sometimes
okay,
they're on point.
1 out of like 9. When you used to watch the OC, when you used to
Yeah.
watch Laguna Beach, when you used to watch Dawson's Creek, like One Tree Hill, are you kidding me? The music would like Grey's Anatomy, like the music would
Right.
kill you.
Yeah.
Like, why are they so shitty at choosing a good song for a good moment?
Like
make
to
you
your
feel a vibe?
point. To your point with the wedding, like
frustrating.
them not getting what we need in terms of like the emotional like payback. When everything happens at the end of the episode, I was like, oh, that was like so short lived. Like it didn't, to your point, if we're talking about like Red Wedding, like comparisons, the Red Wedding got to like such a beautiful apex where you're just like, there's peace and quiet and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
You have these cute moments.
Tensions
and then-
building in an awkward way.
Yeah.
And it's not about that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about the death of
Fine.
it. It's just the building up of it. Like, there's other
Yes,
moments from
the
other
build-up.
TV series that like I can name, like, you know,
Yeah.
but there's just like these really amazing moments that you remember from certain series, and you're like, I'm sure in PLL like there was a moment where you could like pull from that, but this doesn't feel like it, especially because we are gearing into the final season and we are going to get less and less of these kind of moments. Of course, I get it. The ending was like a huge thing. That's fine. But like, just give me some good like.
The lead up wasn't there for me, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I agree with that. And then it shows like Percival coming out of the stockade, and like the locusts eated it, and he gets out of the safe
Eated
somehow.
it?
Like,
They eated it.
He eated it.
They eated it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm very tired, guys.
Oh.
So then it cuts to Percival walking into Thornhill, and this motherfucker just pulls
Like
Nana's oxygen. The audacity.
the audacity of this mother effing man.
I was so like,
What did she ever do to you?
What did she do to you? She's an old lady.
Because the girl that did something to you is at the wedding right now. So why don't you go there?
Talk to her. Yeah, you go talk to Kevin. You go kill Kevin. Why are you going killing fucking Nana?
Oh no, he doesn't kill Kevin either. No.
Oh bitch. I can't even get to that point yet. Let's get there.
Hey.
So poor Nana, he pulls the oxygen mask off, pulls out her oxygen. He suffocates this poor woman to death.
She's
who's
dead?
already like burnt to a crisp. Yeah, I think she's dead. I think this is like R.I.P. Nana.
I think so
Like
too.
legitimately R.I.P. Nana.
Yeah.
And then he says like her death because she is like the oldest firstborn blossom in Riverdale. Like her
It triggered it for everyone else.
It triggers it for everyone else.
Oh.
Like red smoke comes out of her mouth, and like everyone, like obviously that's the end of it all. Whatever. Veronica's at the reception watching BARCHIE dance. This is like Ooh, this is when drama started to get a little hot. I was like, okay,
It got a little hot.
okay,
It got a little chaotic. That's what I'm
got-
saying. This episode was a little chaotic.
So she goes to Tabitha and she says, you know about the future. Like, you can see things, whatever. You've seen the future.
Like, I already knew where this was going when Veronica's sitting there with her drink. She's like,
hey,
you know the future, right? And I was like, oh,
like, hey.
fuck. I was like, oh, no.
And like, it was interesting that you say like you knew where it was going, because I thought it kind of came almost out of nowhere. But then I was like, I get where she was, how she's been feeling this whole time. Obviously, the reason, like, you know, even heard Tabitha saying like, you're here for a reason, you're in Riverdale for a reason. She starts to come back to Archie and her relationship with Archie. But girlfriend, she is dating your best friend. He's dating your best friend. Like,
I don't understand why it happened, but I saw that it was coming when she asked her, like, you know the future, right? And then
so she asked Tabitha, who is Endgame, Archie and Betty, or Archie and Veronica, Archie and me? And before she's able to tell her, Archie collapses on the floor, and then everyone who's basically a firstborn collapses too. Then it even cuts to Jughead in the bunker, and he's now waiting to see who's like sneaking into the bunker in the middle of the night to like whatever, creep him out or whatever. And he startles him, tells him to turn around, and it's him. It's another mother effing Jughead.
First of all, how do you not recognize yourself from the back? He's like,
Dad.
Who?
She's like,
who are you? I'm
like,
he's literally wearing your jean jacket. He has the same head shape. He has the same hair. He has the same height. Like, it's you, bro.
Oh my
like,
God.
how do you not recognize yourself?
Man.
He's like, turn around and let me see who you are. I was like, it's you.
Like, it's you.
Like, how do you not know yourself?
Oh my gosh. Oh, Jesus. It you. So he realizes it's himself, but then he starts getting heart pains and he's like, oh. And then he kind of just like passes out, kind of. We don't really see what happens afterward. Then it shows everyone dead. So Toni's dead, right? Toni's dead.
Did Toni die?
I think Toni died, yeah.
Oh, shit.
She's
I
like,
need to watch that back.
At one point in time, she's like, Cheryl's like, TT, no.
Like, I heard, She's
I'm
like,
pretty sure I remember that.
TT.
She's like, I don't give a fuck about anybody else.
I guess
just
TT's
TT.
down. But it was funny because, like, at some point, like, she drops. And then Cheryl had to like explain everything. She's like, "Oh my God!" She's like, "I'm alive because I'm the younger one."
Yeah,
and then whoever else,
then,
like Betty like, "Oh, Polly." Like, I was like, "We know, guys. We know who's the younger sibling."
But Veronica didn't die, did she?
No, because of her Hermosa.
Oh yeah, Hermosa.
And she even said it. She's like, "Oh, Hermosa." I was like, "You're like half. Doesn't count." Like technically you're the younger of your parents, so like
you know
what
let's
I mean?
Be real.
That's
like
you should,
and there should be some more tragedies. So Archie's now dead. Toni's dead. Fangs is dead. Let's just talk really quickly about one soul survivor.
I can see the anger on your face.
One soul survivor who made it through the cut, which I still to this day will never understand why the writers did this. Probably until next episode, I guess.
To this day, it's been like, what? To
this day.
You're like, till this day. You're like, I watched it 4 hours ago. I know for you, it's probably felt like days.
I know, it feels like years ago, yeah.
Oh, okay.
To this day, I don't know why. I'm just gonna keep it. I'm just gonna keep it.
Keep it.
Keep the clip. To this day, he's still alive. Why did Kevin Keller not die?
Literally, J-Lag texted me. He's like, why didn't he die? And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even think of it. Like, he's the only child. Archie died.
He's the only child. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to remember. Wait,
unless Mary had like another baby that we don't know about.
Did they ever talk about his mom dying during childbirth, or like,
are they considering Josie?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, because you have a stepsister. Who's older?
Yeah.
Yeah, but also like
who's
she's
older?
not your blood, so like
age.
that's not really the same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know, guys. I feel like
shit.
Someone, if you guys know, like, explain it to us. RES, if you're listening, please explain it to us, because where the F were you going with that? Like, why you gotta keep mans on the team? Like, just put him down.
Just put him down. Everybody can't wait to see him gone anyway. I do not need to hear him sing another song. We are done with his character. He did what he needed to do.
Unless Percival still has like a hold on him and like he can't, and that's why he can't die.
So my thing was, I don't think that Kevin got what he deserved from Percival, because this is when Percival realizes that like he betrayed him and all this stuff. If we're doing a Game of Thrones style, he needs to like get vengeance against Kevin, and maybe there's more that's going to happen to Kevin. Or my thing was, I think I even told you when we were messaging each other, being like, why isn't Kevin dead? I said the final episode, you know, half the cast is already dead at this point, or dead at this point. But we know likely most of them will come back. Maybe some of them might not come back.
We're not worried about that. Yeah.
But there still needs to be a bit of a sacrifice. Like, who are the sacrifices going to be? Could it be Kevin? Does Kevin need to redeem himself a little bit more so we still give a shit about him as a character?
It won't kill him off.
Because I feel like they're going to kill him off. I personally think...
Because you want it to happen.
No, but I really think that just based on the fact that he didn't die in this part of the episode, he needs to do a little bit more so he can then like get cut, because then it will feel more emotional. Then we'll be like,
that's true.
Oh my god, he was from the first season.
Did Fangs
like,
die?
Fangs
Fangs
died,
was okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he died.
No, Fangs died. Yeah. So like there has to be another reason why Kevin's not dead, and maybe they'll explain it, maybe they won't, because it's Riverdale. Yeah, I literally was like, Kevin survived the plague, what the F? And then Tabitha realizes that Jughead is also a firstborn, so she runs out of the white worm. She's like, fuck. And Heather, final thing that she says, thankfully, this woman, like I said, badass bitch, she knows everything. She goes, I know someone who can help, someone who's a necromancer who is much stronger than me. Her name is Sabrina.
Dun, dun, dun. So it was a really tough scene to watch, because in that moment, like, they don't know what to do. Like, they are all like, what like, the dead. F did just happen, and like, what did we do? And thank God she was there, because she's like, I'm gonna call my girl.
Yeah, let me just call her up. Just call her an Uber and tell her to come.
So yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about that.
So that's the end of the episode. We're obviously gonna get some Sabrini. Let's get into our recap roundups, because this was hilarious.
Yeah, let's do it.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment, I was kind of conflicted. I was like, I don't know who to give it to. I'm gonna say like it's the wedding, because it was the thing that I was most excited about to see.
Right.
And it does have a good like ending, so I guess I'll say that.
I guess my best moment was gonna go to when everyone catches Percival, because you know I love a little bit of magic, and I loved when everybody appeared and caught him, even though I did not need to hear Kevin be like, you're under arrest. I'm like, just shut up, just stop talking. Everything else was my best moment.
WTF moment. WTF moment, I'm gonna say everyone dying. Not that they're gonna be dead forever, but it was just like shocking to see them just like drop like flies. And Nana dying. Like, I think you're right. I think she is dead. So it's like pretty...
RIP. Yeah. It's pretty fucked up. She's been on the show for such a long time and like being sassy old lady, and now she's like not gonna be there. My WTF moment is going to Kevin surviving the firstborn plague 100%. Because
100%.
I was like, what the F? Like, why isn't he dead?
Yeah. MVP.
Who was your MVP?
I'm gonna say Heather. I think we all of us probably all have the same MVP. I literally was about to give it to Kevin, and then when I saw that he performed, I was like, no, I'm taking it back. Like, you don't deserve this. Like, I was literally gonna be like, Kevin, you finally made the MVP, and then he's like, yes. I'm like, no,
Dad,
take it out.
She's also my MVP as well. I think she killed it this episode. Like, I think that like it really made me be like, wow, she's like out here like doing all the things.
And now that we've seen this episode, because remember how we were kind of talking like, what are her like intentions? Do you think she's good? Do you think she's evil? Now that you've seen this, do you think that she's like fully good?
Yeah, I think she's fully good.
Yeah, same.
But I'm interested to see what's gonna happen with her character, because she's still like not a main cast member. Like, is she gonna...
I don't think she'll survive the season, to be honest. I think she'll die.
there's probably going to be like some casualties in the rest of this war. There has to be. Like
there has to be.
To your point, there has to be more stakes.
We're turning into the last season. Like this is the time to like make these big moves. And ultimately maybe her role was to bring Sabrina into this, right? So that was like the catalyst to bringing Kiernan back. So
for sure.
LVP.
My LVP, I'm gonna give it to Veronica and Kevin for always making it about themselves.
Yeah.
That's it. They do. They always make it about themselves. Like
the ones who sing are the ones who talk about themselves most.
Yeah.
Like, realistically.
Like fine, Veronica, like she's okay to sing sometimes, and like this one was uncalled for. I was like, no, like go be sloppy somewhere else. And also it was like the rehearsal dinner. Like did anyone ask you to sing?
It's not about you.
Like if Toni said like, hey, can you get up there and just like sing like a song and like get everyone like dancing? Okay, like that would have been fine. But like literally nobody asked you to sing. Same
and like
with
it was
you,
the
Kevin.
most awkward song ever. Everyone was like,
and like
I feel very uncomfortable.
And then Kevin barely got invited, and like where the F was Moose? He didn't even like bring Moose with him.
And that's the thing, like we could have seen Moose die. Like what's the point of like just having like these 5 people die? Like what was the point? I don't get it. Anyway.
Wait, was Moose there when they died?
I don't know.
Did you see him?
I guess I have to like go back and watch it.
I don't think they paid him.
He left. He was like, I don't even need to be here. Like this sucks. This party sucks. My LVP is Riverdale Jughead, actually, for being so weird and cryptic. Because I was like, why don't you just go out and tell Jughead like what the F is happening?
I wonder if they can't talk or something. Maybe their talking is like I know with Cheryl, she was able to like tell him something, I guess, right?
Right.
But I wonder
she was
if,
able to talk to him. Yeah.
I wonder if there's something, because you're right. Like if you could just go up to him and say like, do this, do that. Maybe there's something with their communication, like their language doesn't come out the same. But like with Cheryl, it's different because she's maybe in his dreams or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a good point. It's probably the only like good explanation. Otherwise, I'm like, just go out and say what you got to say.
And you know, the
to
show
this
probably
guy.
won't have that explanation.
No explanation whatsoever. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with this Riverdale connection, how it's going to play into people coming back to life. Because like, I wonder if it's just going to be Sabrina bringing everybody back to life and calling it a day, or like, is this Riverdale storyline going to even like come?
I think it will. I think it'll come like she'll figure it all out with the universes and stuff. Yeah.
Got it. Oh yeah, true. Because anyway, we already talked
they have to
about
close that portal, like whatever it is. They got to close it down.
You gotta shut that shit down. What was your best line?
The best line. Best line is gonna go to the She-Wolf of Wall Street when she's like, I used to be the She-Wolf of Wall Street, Tabitha, and now somehow I'm a glorified party planner. And instead of living in New York, I'm here in Riverdale with no social life, no lover, nothing. And I was like, wah. Really?
That's all I hear.
Seriously.
Yeah, like get over yourself.
Yeah.
Mine is actually Veronica again, but her just like basically talking about herself. She goes, who is Endgame, Archie and Betty, or Archie and Veronica?
So we didn't talk about that because Tabitha doesn't answer that question. Before she could say like, well, like everyone starts dying. So
yeah. I don't know. What do you think the answer is? Like, is there an actual answer? Are we going to find out what it is? Like, do we?
I felt like she was going to say, because Tabitha didn't look okay. Like the way she like took that question, she was, and that could just be because she doesn't want to answer it. But it almost looked like she was going to say like, one of you guys is like dead, or like one of you guys don't make it or something. It's not even like a part of the equation anymore, kind of thing, you know? That's how I took her facial reaction. But like, obviously I could just be.
Or she could be like, well, it's just going to be you and Betty together. Like, it's going to, like, you guys are going to just les out or whatever. I don't know. I have no idea.
Who knows?
We'll see.
Also, she can't predict Endgame. She doesn't know the end of, she can't see the end of time, can she?
And she can't see the end of like this particular story, like this particular story. She's gone through different multiverses. Yeah. She hasn't gone through this one.
So she could ask that. She could be like, in other universes, is me and like Archie together or something like that. And then
see, that would have been a cute way to say it, to be like, in some you are together, in some you're not together.
Yeah.
But in this one, I think that, and then they all collapse. You know, like instead we just got this like big question.
Ready for this goddamn show. That's so
You're
good.
welcome.
J-Lag.
You're welcome.
That would have been so good, and that would have been a little cracker for the Varchies because they would have been like, "Oh my god, in another universe we're together."
That they would have made all those videos about like fucking WandaVision.
But that would have been a cute little like thing. Like I would have liked that, and then she could have been like, "But in this one, boom, done."
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly.
All right, let's get into our listener recap roundups because we have so many of them.
So you go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. At CHONI5 on it, her best moment was Fangs dying. Damn. Wow, girl. That's like hatred for Fangs. I thought it was gonna be Kevin. MVP Cheryl for at least trying to stop Percival. Baby Anthony for surviving. LVP Kevin for knowing that Percival was evil all along, but following him anyhow. Jughead for eating a random burger. Toni for asking Cheryl to officiate and for going through with the wedding with Fangs, even though Kevin called off the custody battle. Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Also, the writers for writing this wedding and suddenly remembering that there's meant to be a love triangle and pushing for Veronica to still have feelings for Archie, even though she was pushing Betty and Archie together at an episode ago. So I will just say this about this whole thing. I really don't think her questioning and her like feelings were about, oh my god, I need Archie. I think she's just lonely, and that's just the first person that she looks at because that's her last relationship. So yeah, it's just coming into play like that. I really don't think she's like, I'm gonna steal my best friend's boyfriend. She's not. I don't think that's what they wanted it to be like.
For sure. And I get where people are coming from in terms of like, whoa, she like was such a supportive like BARCHIE shipper like 5 minutes ago, and now she's like doing this. I get that confusion, but I think it's just like the pace of the show is like,
it's
this
the
is
pace
where it's at.
And it's the
she's at a wedding, she's feeling some type of way about it, like she's feeling lonely, like you were saying, like it makes sense. And also she's not like, oh, I'm gonna steal him back like right away. She's just like thinking about it. She's like, maybe at like some point in one world it's like theoretically possible that we stay together.
Her WTF moment was everyone dying, which is everyone like ours. And her best line was the Sabrina line at the end. So.
Sabrini, her name is Sabrini. At Mackenzie Burns says, best moment, happy BARCHIE moments. WTF, the red wedding plus Veronica's song Big Party Foul. Okay. Oh yeah, Big Party Foul. Yeah, for sure. MVP, Cheryl and Betty, their desperations in the voices for Toni and Archie died. What? Their desperations in their voices for Toni and Archie died. Like they were
like
not
when
sad
they died. When they were dying. By the way, Betty barely cried, first of all. She was like, one tear. And then Veronica was like, oh my god.
But also like Veronica, like Betty's gone through enough shit. She's like,
and also like
my boyfriend being dead is like nothing.
No, but that's Archie. But also like Veronica's already like she's such a Debbie Downer in this episode. She was like, I could cry now.
Yeah, now she's like, I'm gonna lose my shit because like even my possible future husband is like dead, so like I can't fucking do anything. LVP Veronica, when Kevin was more mature than you, yikes. That's very true. Best line, Heather's line about Sabrina. Everyone's down for that.
Yeah. At Darkness, I don't know the numbers that you put in your name, but at Darkness, MVP, Betty, best moment, Betty capturing Percival with the help of her friends, and Kevin finally coming to his senses. WTF moment, Jughead dying during the deaths of the firstborn and Veronica surviving. Well, Veronica has a sister, that's why she survived.
Yeah, that makes sense.
LVP Percival, best line, her name is Sabrina. Oh my god, the Sabrina is going 3 for 3 so far.
That's a big one. At Sieran says, best moment, the death of the firstborns. If I didn't know Sabrina was coming, I think they actually killed them off. It was such an intense scene. I was so hyped. And second, Jughead appearing. The Riverdale storyline is one of my faves in the whole show. And I'm so excited we are finally getting somewhere with it. Are we? Like, I still don't know what's happening. WTF moment, Veronica asking about the end games. Like, girl, seriously, you were BARCHIE's biggest supporter 2 weeks ago, and now you're still hung up on him. She was the one that ended things us as well. So annoyed. MVP, Heather, homegirl healed a 150-year-old woman who was engulfed in flames with some burn liquid and is bringing Sabrina. She's easily become one of my faves. I agree. I really like her. I like the actress. She's very intriguing to watch. LVP, sadly, Veronica, she was doing so well, but this episode she kind of dropped again. Her whole thing with Archie and that song was so weird and cringe. Best line, her name is Sabrina. Finally. Bish, finally, Sabrina gonna be here longer than 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're hyped. We're ready for that.
We're gonna get that. We're so excited. So that is the episode. Let us know what you think. Do you think more people are gonna die in this like final season or second to last final season? Is it just gonna be Fangs? Is it gonna be Fangs and Heather? Is it gonna be Fangs, Heather, and maybe one of the core four? Is Reggie gonna die? Is he gonna show up at some point? What's gonna happen to Frank? Like, there's still so many questions that I have with some of these characters. I'm like, they just disappear some episodes, and you're like, oh yeah, true, they were bad. Like, why did you just disappear this one episode? I have no idea. Let us know in the comments below. But in the meantime, I would like to thank our patrons of the episode, our Rewinder Squad. We have White, Cliff, and Hannah, our Lit Rewinders, Tina, Ann, and Kate, and our Mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, Tamla, and Grace.
Thank you guys. If you'd like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind. Thank you for listening.
And also make sure you're checking us out on all of our socials, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and you can also find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iTunes. Like, subscribe, follow, review, and comment to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. Thanks for listening. Also, we are not coming back. Yeah, sorry.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Say that.
Yeah, we're not coming back, I think, until July 10th. So we still got another couple.
One more week. Again, it's kind of like the same pattern.
It's like doubling up on the weeks.
Which is really effing annoying because I keep forgetting what happened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But July 10th is the next new episode. And guys, if you're listening on the audio version, go to our YouTube because we are releasing the reaction to that promo for next week's episode on our YouTube. So be sure to go to our YouTube to check that out if you're listening to the audio version. If you're on YouTube,
and also like comment because like let's have a discussion for the next week because we don't have an episode, so like let's just theorize what happens next.
And if you are a fan of Pretty Little Liars, then you might be a fan of the new show Original Sin, produced by the Riverdale people, some of the Riverdale people. We did a video on that on our YouTube as well, so be sure to go check that out if you're a fan and you want to see our faces on another type of video.
There you go.
Is that it?
That's all. Thank you so much. Bye.